So this story blew up a few days ago. Apparently, the Biden administration is really being hard on their staffers, and he's doing some peak 1980s drug war hysteria nonsense. So take a look at this from the AP. They say, 5 White House staffers have been fired because of their past use of drugs, including marijuana, Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Friday. Marijuana has become a delicate issue for President Joe Biden's administration because 15 states and Washington, D.C. allow for recreational usage, despite a federal prohibition. The administration has tried not to automatically penalize potential staffers for legal behavior in their communities by developing a more flexible policy, Psaki said in a statement to the Associated Press. Quote, in an effort to ensure that more people have an opportunity to serve the public, we worked in coordination with the security service to ensure that more people will have the opportunity to serve than would not have in the past with the same level of recent drug use, Psaki said. While we will not get into individual cases, there were additional factors at play in many instances for the small number of individuals who were terminated. The Daily Beast website first reported the firings Thursday night. Okay, so the thing that they're alluding to at the end there is that they think the 5 staffers who were fired not only used marijuana, but also used some harder drugs. Again, they don't get into specifics as to what those harder drugs are, but listen, the takeaway is the same either way. I don't care if you fired them for just marijuana use or if you fired them for marijuana use and some other drug use. I still think it's wrong. I still think it's messed up. I still think it's crazy. The point that everybody's making, and of course they're 100% right to say this, is Kamala Harris admitted on one of the most popular radio shows in the country that she smoked weed. You know, so what are you going to do? You going to fire your VP? He can't, by the way, but why'd you pick her in the first place? They knew. They knew that she used marijuana. He didn't care because he viewed it as politically advantageous. But now that he's in power, who cares? Ruin a few lives of people who are doing something that is illegal in Washington, D.C. It's illegal, and they're still firing them. I'm telling you, man, he is from a previous era. The other point people make is in regards to Hunter Biden. I mean, Hunter Biden has had, an endless laundry list of drug use and addiction problems, and that's not me saying that to put him down or besmirch him or, take some sort of shot at him. In fact, I agree with Joe Biden's approach to Hunter Biden, where he had nothing but endless compassion. I remember the story that blew up during the election where, he said, I love you, my dear son, you don't disappoint me, something along those lines. Something that was very sweet for a father to say to his son when the son is basically repeatedly fucking up. And Joe Biden was right there, hand outstretched, willing to give endless amounts of sympathy, endless second tries, third tries, fourth tries. And listen, again, that's the way it should be. But that same outreach and that same mindset that you have for members of your own family, it should be the same for everybody. That shouldn't be viewed as special treatment, Listen, on the one hand, drug use is just a freedom issue. You should be able to put in your body whatever you want to put in your body as long as you're not hurting anybody else. And on the other hand, it's an issue of if you have a real addiction problem, get rehab. But certainly at the end of the day, it shouldn't be a criminal issue, and you definitely shouldn't lose your job, lose your livelihood as a result of doing things that probably the majority of the American population has done. So, I mean, this gets to the heart of the Biden administration. It's very... this is incredibly hypocritical, and this is incredibly stuck in a previous era and generation. And so, you got to stop with the nonsense, man. Not only should you bring these people back, you should pay them a bonus for the trouble and for everything that they went through. And beyond that, you should legalize, tax, and regulate drugs at a federal level. By the way, you want to build a legacy? This is how you build a legacy. You do something like that. You actually think in a bold way. You actually think in a forward-thinking way. You do the thing that the polls show the American people want, because this is supposed to be a constitutional republic and a representative democracy, but we seem to have forgotten the representative democracy part, because it's damn near 70% of the country that wants marijuana legalized at a federal level. And instead, it's not legalized at a federal level, even though Biden could do it right now if he wanted to. Right now. It's not legalized at a federal level, and he's firing people in his administration who smoked weed. And then they pawn it off to like, oh, there were bad processes and procedures that were in place, and it wasn't really us. It It was the security apparatus. Shut the fuck up. These people didn't have to get fired if you didn't sign off on that policy. The buck stops with him. He's the president. So, unacceptable. Their cover-up is even more pathetic, and this should be reversed immediately.